Good afternoon, Year 2. It's Miss Frog, ready to read you another story. This book is by Dr. Seuss and it's a bit of a tongue twister. It's called The Lorax and I'm going to read you the blurb. In this haunting fable about the dangers of destroying our forests, the long-suffering Lorax tries to save the trees from the wicked Once-ler's axe. This is the first picture. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass some people say, if you look deep enough you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax and why is it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Once-ler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Once-ler. Don't knock on at his door. He says in his lerkim on top of his store. He lurks in his lerkim cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And one special dank midnight in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss it 15 pence and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. This is a strange book. Then he pulls up the pail. He makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. You can see him peeking out. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grovelous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper phone. The secrets I tell you are yours ears alone. Slap! Down slaps the whisperman phone to your ear, and the old Once-ler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through the snarly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding grey, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the tuffler trees, the bright-coloured tufts of the tuffler trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw bar blots frisking about in their bar loot suits as they played in the shade and ate tuffler fruits. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. Here comes the Once-ler's wagon. But those trees, those tuffler trees. All my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts are much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leap of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I built a small shop. Then I chopped down a tuffler tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill, with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a sneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gnump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump. Out of the tree I had just chopped down. It was a sort of man. Describe him. That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish. And brownish and mossy. And he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax and I speak for the trees. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffle-luff tuft? Now he's pointing. Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, you can use it for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for 39.8. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid man. You never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I am busy, I told him. Shut up, please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, I built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all of my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Once-ler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weaning. Shut right at South Snitch. Now he is on the phone. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Once-ler family was working full tilt. We were knitting all thneeds, just as busy bees, to the sound of chopping of tuffler trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So quickly I invented the super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 tuffler trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week, he knocked on my front door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax, who speaks from the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbar loots, who played in the shades of their barbar loot suits, and happily lived eating tufflet fruits." And there they are. They look hungry. "Now, thanks for your hacking my trees to the ground. There's not enough tuffler fruits to go round. And my poor barbar loots are getting the crummies because they have gas and no food for their tummies. They loved living here, and I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them on their way. I, the Once-ler, felt sad as I watched them go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless crummies in tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. Of the thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money with which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when the old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and snuffled. He snarled, he sniffed. "Once-ler," he cried with a croak. "Once-ler, you're making such a smuggless smoke. My poor swarm swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They can't live here, so I'm sending them off." Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dancer was up, "let me say a few words about Gluppity Glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making Gluppity Glup, also Sloppity Slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Once-ler man, you." "You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on the fins and get woefully weary. They'll walk on their fins in search of some water that isn't so smeary. I hear things are just as bad up in Lake Erie." And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I've got my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring out biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more tougher trees into thneeds with everyone needs. And at that very moment, I heard a loud whack. From outside the hearings came a sickening smack. It was an axe of a tree. Then I heard the tree fall, the very last tougher tree of them all. You can see all the stumps of the other ones. No more tougher trees left. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. And so, in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under smoke-smeared stars. Now, all that was left, 'neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big, empty factory, the Lorax and I. Needs. Factory. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glare, just gave me a very sad backwards glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hasted himself and took leave out of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word: useless. Whatever that meant. Unless, well, I couldn't guess. That was long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all my heart. But now, said the Once-ler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Once-ler. You let something fall. It's a Tuffler seed. It's the last one of them all. You're in charge, the last of the Tuffler seeds. And Tuffler seeds are what everyone needs. Plant a new Tuffler. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it with fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all his friends may come back. The end. Before I go, tomorrow is Good Friday. I hope you have a lovely time with your families and you get to celebrate and cherish all of the people around you that mean so much to you. Bye, you two.